Dame Olivia Newton-John ACDB was a British-Australian singer, songwriter, actress, entrepreneur, and activist. She was born on September 26, 1948 in Cambridge, United Kingdom, to Welshmen Brinley Bryn Newton-John and Irene Helene. Her Jewish maternal grandfather, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Max Born, fled with his wife and children to Britain from Germany before World War II to escape the Nazi regime. Newton-John's maternal grandmother was of paternal Jewish ancestry as well. Through her, she was a third cousin of comedian Ben Elton. Her maternal great-grandfather was the jurist Victor Ehrenberg, and her matrilineal great-grandmother's father was the jurist Rudolf von Jhering. Newton-John's father was an MI5 officer on the Enigma project at Bletchley Park who took Rudolf Hess into custody during World War II. After the war, he became the headmaster of the Cambridgeshire High School for Boys and was in this position when Olivia was born. She attended Christ Church Grammar School in the Melbourne suburb of South Yarra and then the University High School near Ormond College. At age 14, Newton-John formed Sol 4, a short-lived all-girl group, with 3 classmates, often performing in a coffee shop owned by her brother-in-law. She became a regular on local Australian television shows including Time for Terry and The Happy Show where she performed as Lovely Livy. Newton-John recorded her first single, Till You Say You'll Be Mine, in Britain for Decca Records in 1966. Newton-John released her first solo album, If Not For You, in 1971. The title track, written by Bob Dylan and previously recorded by former Beatle George Harrison for his 1970 album All Things Must Pass, was her first international hit. Her follow-up single, Banks of the Ohio, was a top 10 hit in the UK and Australia. She was voted Best British Female Vocalist 2 years in a row by the magazine Record Mirror. She made frequent appearances on Cliff Richard's weekly show It's Cliff Richard and starred with him in the telefilm The Case. Newton-John finished 4th at the contest held in Brighton behind ABBA's winning Swedish entry, Waterloo. All 6 Eurovision contest song candidates, Have Love, Will Travel, Lovin' You Ain't Easy, Long Live Love, Someday, Angel Eyes and Hands Across the Sea were recorded by Newton-John and included on her Long Live Love album, her first for the EMI Records label. Newton-John left the UK and moved to the US. She topped the pop and country albums charts with her next album, Have You Never Been Mellow? For 45 years, Olivia held the Guinness World Record for the shortest gap by a female between new #1 albums on the US Billboard 200 album charts until Taylor Swift in 2020. The album generated 2 singles, the John Farrar pen titled track and Please Mr. Please. However, her pop career cooled with the release of her next album, Clearly Love. Her streak of 5 consecutive gold top 10 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 ended when the album's first single, Something Better to Do, stopped at number 13. Newton-John's singles continued to easily top the AC chart, where she ultimately amassed 10 #1 singles. Newton-John's career soared after she starred in the film adaptation of the Broadway musical Grease in 1978. She was offered the lead role of Sandy after meeting producer Alan Carr at a dinner party at Helen Reddy's home. The film accommodated Newton-John's Australian accent by recasting her character from the play's original American Sandy Dombrowski to Sandy Olsen, an Australian who holidays in the US and then moves there with her family. Newton-John previewed some of the film's soundtrack during her second American network television special, Olivia, featuring guests ABBA and Andy Gibb. In 1981, Newton-John released her most successful studio album, the double platinum Physical, which strongly reinforced her image change by showcasing risque, rock-oriented material. Newton-John explains, I just wasn't in the mood for tender ballads. I wanted peppy stuff because that's how I'm feeling. Newton-John was primed for another comeback in 1992 when she compiled her third hits collection, and planned her first tour since her physical trek 10 years earlier. Shortly after the album's release, Newton-John was diagnosed with breast cancer, forcing her to cancel all publicity for the album, including the tour. Newton-John recovered and later became an advocate for breast cancer research and other health issues. In 2008, she raised funds to help build the Olivia Newton-John Cancer and Wellness Centre in Melbourne, Australia. She led a 3-week, 228 kilometers walk along the Great Wall of China during April, joined by various celebrities and cancer survivors throughout her trek. The walk symbolized the steps cancer patients must take on their road to recovery. On November 2, 2019, Julien's Auctions auctioned hundreds of memorabilia items from the singer's career. The sale raised $2.4 million. Newton-John's Grease outfit garnered $405,700. Her pants and jacket were purchased separately by two different billionaires. In May 2017, it was announced that Newton-John's breast cancer had returned and metastasized to her lower back. Her back pains had initially been misdiagnosed as sciatica. Newton-John subsequently revealed this was actually her third bout with breast cancer, as she had privately battled a recurrence of the disease in 2013 in addition to her initial 1992 fight. With the 2017 recurrence, the cancer had spread to her bones and progressed to stage 4. Newton-John had openly spoken of using cannabis oil to ease her pain. She was an advocate for the use of medical cannabis. Her daughter Chloe owns a cannabis farm in Oregon. On August 8, 2022, Newton-John died from breast cancer at her home in California, age 73.